Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar on ROI of Mobile Workforce Management Solution. Before we get started, I want to let you guys know that we will have some time at the end to answer any questions you may have, so please feel free to submit those questions throughout the webinar. We'll also be sending out the recording to all of you guys after the webinar, so please keep an eye out for it. All right, let's get started. I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, Bill Igo, who leads finance and operations for Schedulo. Before joining Schedulo, Bill was an investment professional at Summit Partners, a multi-billion-dollar global growth equity firm where he worked with the fund's healthcare and technology companies to accelerate growth and streamline operations. Before that, he was management consultant for McKinsey & Company, where he advised clients in the transportation, logistics, retail, and nonprofit sectors on operational efficiency and growth strategy. All right, take it away, Bill.
Thanks, Jen. And thanks everyone for joining. Looking forward to this conversation. So when people on our team purchase new software, Matt, our CEO, and I expect them to come to us and present a compelling ROI-based business case. They have to defend the new expense. And my suspicion is that if you're taking the time to join this webinar, that you'll probably have to explain the ROI of Schedulo or another mobile workforce management solution to someone in your business when you purchase such software. And that's what I want to talk to you about. I want to help prepare you to have that conversation. So the cost of purchasing new software extends beyond the price itself. You've got to be able to convince your team that buying the software is worth the time to implement and the pain of change management. So a lot more than just the dollars and cents. So over the next few minutes, we're going to talk about why mobile workforce management software like Schedulo is worth such an investment. Let's talk about ROI. So we'll break this conversation into three parts. First, I want to tell you a little bit more about Schedulo. Then I'd like to explain how Schedulo and other solutions similar to it could help your business, and then why Schedulo itself is worth the cost, and why workforce management solutions in general can be good for your business. So Schedulo is the leader in mobile workforce management software, and our software solution helps enterprises with large field-based workforces schedule, dispatch, route, manage, and empower their workers in the field. Our clean UI makes it easy for your team to identify the right person for the job and then schedule them quickly. And the field worker receives timely notifications and critical info through our app on their mobile device. It tells them things like where to go and what to expect based on the customer's information that you've already stored in your CRM, such as Salesforce. And once they're on the job, the worker can use our custom forms, which we customize for all of our customers, to record key information about the interaction that they had with the customer, which is then synced automatically with Salesforce. It gives you full visibility into the customer's experience with your business, gives you great visibility into the broader customer journey. So how exactly does Schedulo deliver financial and operational value? We like to think about it in four pieces, and we'll talk about each one in greater detail. They are optimizing the customer journey, so giving you that extra visibility that you need and the opportunity to refine the way you're delivering service. Scheduling complex resources, so reducing the logistical complexity of dealing with workers out in the field. Empowering the mobile worker, so providing your mobile workforce with the information they need to provide best-in-class service to your customers. And reducing operational complexity. And by that, I'm referring specifically to back office complexity, oftentimes in the finance department, dealing with things like receivables and invoicing. So let's talk about the first, optimizing the customer journey. Doing so is all about revenue growth. And in doing so with Schedulo, you'll see customer satisfaction scores increase, customer retention increase, and upsell and cross-sell revenue go up. Your customers are your lifeblood, and we get that. Our customers are our lifeblood. And customers expect a really high level of consistent service. So Schedulo helps enterprises meet their appointment obligations by ensuring that the mobile workers show up on time, reduce the number of visits needed by sending the right employee the first time, and providing the field workers with everything they need to know about the customer when they get there. So any sort of information you have in your CRM, you can make available to the mobile worker. And by providing them with that information, you can make your customers feel like they're working with a business that actually knows them, that cares about their satisfaction. They don't feel like an anonymous customer dealing with a large bureaucratic organization. They understand that you're there to provide great service and to make them happy. So the second source of value from mobile workforce management software and Schedulo is solving the logistical problem of scheduling complex resources. So doing so with Schedulo can save you serious money by reducing travel costs, increasing employee utilization, and reducing rescheduling rates, which lead to lost productivity. Scheduling and dispatching mobile workers is really tough. It's a hard logistical problem, and reacting to the changes in the field make it even harder. If you're involved at all in that process, you know what happens when a customer is suddenly not available for an appointment, or traffic gets backed up on a highway and your mobile worker suddenly can't make it to the appointment they were supposed to make it to. Most of our customers have large teams of people that do this kind of work, this scheduling and information management in Excel, and they'll research routes on Google Maps. They'll pick up the phone and make calls to customers and mobile workers to coordinate times and determine whom to send, when to send them. It's extremely manual. It's difficult to do. It opens the door for errors and for weak customer service. I want you to imagine how much your mobile workforce could do if they were routed and scheduled optimally, if they were always able to make it to the appointment on time, to take the most efficient route, and to ensure that customers were served effectively and at the time that they're meant to be. The third source of value, this kind of software, comes from empowering the mobile workforce, which is something that we at Schedulo care a lot about and really believe in. We think that in doing so, you can increase employee satisfaction, you can increase employee retention, and employee productivity. At the end of the day, happy employees simply work harder. And to do their job well, mobile workers need a lot of information. They need to know where to go, when to go there, and whom they'll meet. They're out in the field. They don't have, they can't walk down the hall to somebody else's cube to ask a question. They are oftentimes by themselves, and their mobile device is there linked back to the organization. It's the only way they have the information they need to do their job well. So Schedulo helps enterprises provide their mobile workers with that kind of information, which empowers them to do their best. And once they're out in the field working, they can collect critical information about the customer's experience, allowing those back at headquarters to continuously improve service delivery. At the end of the day, happy employees make for happy customers, and people who feel like they can do their job well and are given the resources that they need to do so are happy and work hard. So the last source of value for software of this kind is it can help reduce operational complexity. Implementing Schedulo will help your back office team streamline invoicing and decrease G&A expenses. So scheduling without mobile workforce management software can create enormous operational headaches, especially for the finance and accounting teams, which I can certainly relate to. Schedulo can increase payroll accuracy. It can improve invoice turnaround time and reduce reinvoicing rates. You think about it, you know exactly where someone was and what they were doing when they were working, so your payroll accuracy is better. You can ensure that your invoices go out immediately after service is delivered, ensuring that you get paid quickly. And then because you know the kind of work that was involved, because you have such a strong connection to the workers out in the field, you can ensure that your invoices are correct, which is important from a back office perspective, but nothing upsets customers more than getting an invoice that's wrong and having to catch it themselves. It really does allow companies to grow their customer base while maintaining the same number of employees that schedule and dispatch the mobile workforce too. A lot of our customers have large teams that do their scheduling and dispatching. That's their entire role, and there are a lot of people that do it. In many cases, companies could grow multiple times over and maintain that same team. So there are very large G&A cost savings and efficiencies to be found on that front as well. So if your finance team is anything like ours, if they think anything, if they think the way that I do, they'll expect and respond best to metrics. So the story of the value is really helpful, the story that we've been talking through. But if I were in their shoes, I'd want to know the business metrics that Schedulo will help me change. So let's review those for a minute. So by optimizing the customer journey, you can increase your customer satisfaction scores, see customer retention increase, and increase upsell and cross-sell revenue. At the end of the day, optimizing that customer journey is all about top-line growth. By using mobile workforce management software to schedule your mobile resources effectively, you can increase employee utilization, decrease travel costs, and reduce rescheduling rates. By empowering the mobile worker with such software, you'll see that employee satisfaction scores go up, as do employee retention and employee productivity. And then finally, there are real operational gains to be had by using such software, and you can decrease your G&A expenses and help your company get paid faster by using such software. And there's nothing that cash-loving finance people love than getting paid quickly. So I recommend leading with that. We've talked a lot about Schedulo's ROI story and the story you'd need to tell to convince your team that it's worth the investment. But at some point, you'll be asked to prove it. They'll ask you for real numbers. Before you start the project, you may have to set benchmarks and say, I want to see this operational metric change by X%. Someone's going to hold you accountable. And so we want to share some figures that we've gotten back from our customers, what they've told us they've observed after implementing Schedulo. So on average, our customers report a 28% increase in on-site job execution visibility, meaning that 28% more jobs are reported as completed. If you think about that for a second, imagine that all of those, you didn't know that all of those jobs were completed, and suddenly you're aware of them. That's frankly money that's sitting on the table somewhere. So it really is kind of an astounding metric. We, on average, see an 8% increase in customer satisfaction, which if you've ever tried to impact a CSAT score, an 8% jump is very difficult to get. I've done a lot of that work, and it's just exceedingly difficult. On average, we see a 21% increase in resource utilization. So a worker that does 5 jobs in a day can suddenly do 6. I want you to think about how big much bigger your company could be while maintaining the same size workforce, just by implementing some software and streamlining your processes. And finally, you can reduce the time it takes to schedule workers by 48%. So if you think about it, you can essentially double the size of your business and keep the same size scheduling and dispatching team, because suddenly they're twice as efficient as they were before they had access to such software. So we really believe that these metrics speak for themselves. It's been an exciting journey for us working with the customers that we have today, and we've been really thrilled by the metrics that have been coming back and the success that our customers have had. I think we'll open it up to questions at this point. Thank you all for joining.
We actually did have a few good questions come through, and again, everyone, as a reminder, we'll try to get to all of those questions. Just please be sure to submit those before we end the webinar. We'll try to fit as many as we can. All right, so one of the good questions we had was, how do I get my team, my field team, to actually learn, adopt, and use this scheduling software, or, you know, Scheduler, for example? How do we make sure that we get full adoption from that, from purchasing?
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's a really important point. In my previous jobs, have seen a number of software companies where frontline workers were using the software and failed to adopt it, and it was, you know, disastrous for the implementation. It was frankly a waste of money. Yeah. So it is a really good question. What I think there are two things that get people to you know, field workers to accept the software. One is it easy to use, and Schedule in particular, the user interface is so clean and so intuitive that we find that people, you don't need much training to use it. It's very easy to pick up. Second, they want to know, you know, what's in it for them, and at the end of the day, the vast majority of people, when they go to work, they want to be good at their jobs. You know, a lot of the dissatisfaction people have is when they don't have the resources they need to do well. And so having access to this kind of software, having access to the information that the company has on the customers, and being able to provide that best-in-class service is really motivating. On top of that, you know, they're able to record their interaction out in the field and feed it back to the business. So being connected back to headquarters in a stronger way, and knowing that they're contributing to the broader business strategy by sharing that information that allows visibility into the customer journey, that's motivating as well. That's what we've seen from the customers that we've been working with so far.
Yeah. And I know for a fact also, they like being recognized for their work, and usually when you're out in the field, you never really have that time. So the visibility also, I think, contributes greatly to that. So yeah, that's very cool. So this person actually asked, which I think is a really good point. I see great benefits in getting a scheduling, or, you know, a scheduling software or Schedulo, but I don't have a big budget, and isn't it expensive to implement, you know, such a solution that works for my team, as well as, you know, integrate with my CRM so that I get that information tracked back? What do you think for that?
Okay.
Budget?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so it sounds like the question's really around the cost of configuration. Every business has different business processes. When you get new software, in an ideal world, if your business processes are set up properly, you don't want to have to adapt to the software. You want the software to adapt for you. And so sometimes configuration services are required. I would say it is a really good use of funds in most cases. If it's good software, then it will not be too difficult to configure to your business process, and you know, the cost of such configuration implementation shouldn't be too burdensome. When software is you know, not very flexible, that's when you run into problems. But we generally find that we can get customers up and running pretty quickly and adapt our software to their business without too much headache. I'm not sure how other mobile workforce management software companies do it, but that's what I've seen in our experience.
Okay, great answer. Another question was, we've been doing things pretty manually, but we're making it work. I would love to get a solution that can automate a lot of this process, but it's hard to get my CEO's support to invest in the solution, especially since everything is working as it is, so why rock the boat? So, I mean, what's the best way to get a CEO's buy-in to rock the boat, I guess?
Yeah. Well, if we accepted the status quo and didn't rock the boat, sometimes humans wouldn't have gotten to where they are. So I like rocking the boat, and I imagine, you know, great CEOs or will be willing to. They just need to know that they'll actually see measurable business results. And so what you can, the story you can tell is that today, yes, things are working. We're able to do the work, but if we were to implement software and streamline our processes a bit with it, we would see these kind of operational gains and these kind of financial gains. So, what it really takes is, if you think about the metrics that we just walked through, one, telling that more qualitative story, to tell the high-level story, and then, they're going to want to dig into the numbers, and they should. So it's around, the answer is really about coming up with some assumptions and back into what you think the metrics, how much you think your metrics might be able to change. Yeah, I think that's the way I would handle it, and that's the way when we are purchasing new software, that's what I want people to come with. I need that qualitative story, but I also need, okay, we know this metrics, 20%, but we think we can get it to 30, and what does that mean for the bottom line? Yeah.
It has to be worth the risk sometimes,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Bill. We are unfortunately out of time. For any questions we weren't able to answer today, we'll make sure to send you a personal follow-up through email. So please submit all of your questions before logging out. We'll stay on 5 minutes after to make sure you have some time to submit those questions. We'd also like to let you know our next webinar will be next month, so keep an eye out. It will cover the customer experience in the future of work. You can register at our events page at scheduler.com. Thank you for your time, and please keep an eye out for the recording in your inbox coming soon. Thank you. Bye.